G'day, 43 OG. How you going, mate? Can you hear me okay? Oh, you're muted, bro. All
Hello.
good? Hey, how you going, mate?
I'm good. I'm not sure if I cut out for a second there. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks, mate. Yeah, I think it mutes during the intro or something, but you're on your phone today, are you?
Yeah. I'm mobile. I'm mobile
So a little
today.
bit,
So
a little bit more
different setup.
mucking around. Yep, that's
Yeah,
fair enough.
different setup to normal. But before we do anything else, let me just do my traditional.
Oh yeah, the ASMR or whatever that is. The slurp, the big slurp.
The
Love it, mate.
the slurp of the
So
infused natural mineral water with a hint of blood orange and mango.
I've just got beer in my wooden spoon stubby holder. How's the
Because it's happy
TGIF
hour
tomorrow? Yeah, it is. Cheers to Friday.
Cheers to Friday. Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, well for that. And yeah, grand final in Australia tomorrow, in fact.
Yeah, AFL grand final.
AFL grand final. So that's pretty big. Like 80,000 or 100,000 people at the G.
Collingwood versus Brisbane.
Yeah. Go the Maggies. That's just to trigger people. Like, so they'll be like, the Maggies, what? Yeah, no, I'm an Eagles supporter, so
Which is expected.
I've got far too many teeth to be a Collingwood supporter.
Yeah, that was, dude. That was my next line. My next line was, you must be a dentist or something. I don't know.
No, actually, one of my good mates is a Maggies supporter, so I'll be there tomorrow cheering on the Maggies. I actually went and saw them so the last time they were in the grand final was the 2018 when the Eagles beat them. So that's where that came from. I went to that game. So the crowd was just crazy. Like it's a huge, coliseum of just noise when the whole stadium reverberates when they get a goal. It's intimidating. It's awesome.
Dude, I used to play basketball with a guy who was a Magpies supporter. And before I even knew, like in the first couple of games we ever played together, he told me he was a Magpie supporter, and I said to him, dude, I'm surprised you've got all your teeth. And in that very game, he told me that at the start, in that very game, he got all of his front teeth knocked out of his mouth, totally. They shattered like
that's brutal.
Porcelain. Yeah, and he had like just bits and pieces left. It looked so weird, bro. It looked so weird. Well, and he had to have all his
membership for life.
And then everyone on the team exactly. You should get a free Collingwood membership for life.
Yeah, you just put on the gold jacket. Like you're the new Joffa. Although I think that Joffa guy. Anyway, I won't go into that.
Joffa was the guy. Was the guy who with the gold jacket? Yeah.
But didn't he get done for being a pedo or something? I can't remember.
I don't know. Maybe.
Anyway.
I never spent that much time looking into the guy, to be honest with you.
No. It was just because he wore a giant golden jacket when they thought that the Pies were going to win. So it was just it was very conspicuous, I think.
Yeah.
Bro, I have to tell you what's been going on because this is hilarious to me, but possibly not that funny for anyone else. But so I have been trying to, there's this CoinSpot are doing a giveaway where they're trying to find they're doing this treasure hunt where they've put this rocket out there and they're doing it in all the different states of Australia. And it's if you find it, you can win a Bitcoin. And today it's in my home city. So I've been racing around trying to find this rocket so I can win a Bitcoin.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Do it.
It sounds awesome, except for it's just a lot of walking around Kings Park and just sort of, it was quite nice, in the botanical gardens and all this sort of stuff. And
Dude, a Bitcoin, that's no joke. And I assume that you've actually got a really good chance of winning, because realistically, how many people are into crypto who would know of CoinSpot in Perth,
Australia,
and not only that, but would actually take the time to go and look for it. So you've probably got a reasonably good chance of, if you can work it out before anyone else, I would say you've got a good chance of taking that Bitcoin home.
Well, I was going to try and get Hexaco to help me out and try and crowdsource it, see if I can get some of the chat involved, because there's like clues and shit, and you have to like find out where it is. So I mean, if I find it, man, the beers are on me. So at the Sydney meetup, that's for sure. So, that goes without saying. Beers are probably on me anyway. But so who's in the chat? We've got Red Squirrel. Yeah, when I start drinking, I'm just like, hey, who wants tequila shots? So who we got? Baseline. What's up? What's up? Red Squirrel. Oi oi. Jerry. He said, it's got a question for you. How come you don't have Cam, maybe? Anyway, I think we answered that. Yeah, so anyway, in the chat, let us know what beverage you're drinking, or whether you're a Magpie supporter, whether you've got teeth, or whether you can help me find this this Bitcoin.
I will just answer Jerry for a second. Regarding, I'm guessing he's talking about the cam. It's not that I don't have the cam anymore. It's just that I stream from different, like my weekly streams. Whenever I stream, I'm streaming from different locations. Whenever I've got my good cam set up, I always have my cam on. And that's usually when that's usually on this stream. I usually have my good cam on. And then whenever I do like the Not Hex show, which is, during the day, Australian time, I usually have the cam on. But like lately, setting up the cam in the location I do my the Hex Late show is just not, at the moment, it's not feasible, and it's a bit of a pain. So I'm just not bothering putting the cam on. But it's got nothing to do with not wanting to show my beautiful face.
You haven't got any bruises from your martial arts? Have you been doing your BJJ? Or
yeah, I have. I have. Yeah, I have. Yeah, not well. I did it. When did I train? I trained on Wednesday. So
awesome, man.
Yeah, it was good. No, I've got a few bruises, a few bumps and bruises, but I rolled with a really good. Yeah, I rolled with a really good purple belt on.
Awesome.
On no gi.
He's hardcore. Oh yeah, no gi. Nearly all of my wrestling is no gi. Yeah, I mean, I used to do gi stuff, but not anymore.
And he sort of showed me just how out of shape I was.
Yeah, that's it.
And he had a very very, very tight game. Very tight game. So
awesome.
It was. I didn't like, dude. I'm humble when I roll. I'm very, very humble. I'm not like.
Yeah.
I'm always very complimentary on anyone who's doing all the right things. You got to be, and that's the thing about people who train martial arts.
I get my piss sometimes, so that's what humbles me. Yeah. Like I literally, like this bruise here. I don't know if you can see that. That's me blocking a roundhouse with my arm. Which is not
nice,
recommended, bro. So like, yeah. It'll clear up tomorrow, sort of thing. It's been, but it's like, and I can't even feel it, but it's like, when you're checking kicks, and you can check, but once they go above waist height, and it starts to like head height and stuff like that, like I got like question mark kicked in the head on Tuesday. And that forearm was a roundhouse. So, stopped me from getting hit in the head, but arm against shin does not mix.
No. Well, arm against shin is better than head against.
Better than just getting
shin.
Kicked in the head, which is what I did get kicked in the head like earlier in that sparring. Because it goes for like 45 minutes of sparring. So within like 45
minutes of sparring.
Yeah, man, it's fucking intense. After about 2-3 minutes, you gassed and you just like, oh my god, I'm just getting, and then you just keep going. You just don't stop, and
That's
it's
insane,
pretty
bro.
intense.
45 minutes
Like
of sparring is insane.
yeah, it's literally like 45 to an hour, and it's just like, I mean, there's natural like points where it stops, where it will go to ground, and I'll get put in a guillotine or something stupid, and and then but then it'll reset and things like that, and you have a little bit of a breather, but it's pretty much just continuous. So but it's surprising you can always find that little bit more to keep going. It's particularly when someone's trying to kick you in the head, you always find that little bit more because it's like
I think
you're in danger.
we're
It's like fight or
wired.
flight, and you just
We're wired.
fight.
We're wired to always find a little bit more. I think we're wired that way. The
I
body
think
is
so.
wired that way, you know?
Yeah. And it's actually a really good form of exercise because you're like redlining that sort of adrenaline, like non-stop, like max energy intensity for like an hour. And same with rolling, man. So like there's a couple of times with rolling, like BJJ, I got out of it, went to the car, and I couldn't drive home. I had to sit on the curb. This is early days, because I thought I was going to yak or something, because it was just like that much lactic acid built up. So, but yeah, thankfully that doesn't happen to me anymore.
Which, by the way, that whole lactic acid thing, I was listening to a podcast with Dr. Rhonda Patrick and Peter, who was it? Peter Attia? No.
Don't know them.
No. Dr. Rhonda Patrick and someone else about how lactic acid is actually, they used to think that it was just this end product that served it wasn't useful in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. And now they're starting to think that it's good for your brain.
Serves the purpose. Oh wow.
It's actually like really good for your brain. Like it does something like it's got some real protective something protective about it that's good for the brain. So I'm not sure.
All kinds of exercise like that. I mean, it's just your body's designed to be moving, right? Like just to be active and getting your heart rate up like that, and the lactic acid. Like I think every so often you sort of need to do it just to get your body, like, let it know what's going on.
Yeah. And one of the other things I was saying was that exercising for 1 hour a day is extremely, I think it increases it reduces your all-cause mortality, like by some ridiculous number. I don't know what I think. I can't remember. I think it was something like 70% or something along those lines, where if you exercise for 1 hour a day,
I think I saw a documentary or something that you posted, a link or something that you posted. It was like not a documentary, like a podcast interview. I think it was a Lex Friedman one, and the guy was talking about that, and he was like, by far the biggest indicator of longevity is actually like, and then the way that they measured the VO2, or there was some metric,
VO2 max.
Oh,
was it Lex Friedman and Peter Attia?
It could have been, man. I think I saw you. I think you posted it. I really liked that. I enjoyed that one. And also, speaking of things that you have shared that I enjoyed, that Eric Voorhees thing, and I know Tangent mentioned it the other day as well, but I keep going back to that, man. That permissionless thing, that with Eric Voorhees.
That's something you can share with DeFi. Anyone. You share that. You can share that because it's the way he speaks. It's very palatable for just your average person who's maybe just a little bit interested in this whole thing that we're in. If anyone's just got a little bit of interest, that's someone.
And it was really interesting the way that he was saying, like, when in terms of crypto, people think of it as like it's like chaos, like it's just, and the fiat system is the law and order, and crypto as the Wild West. And he was saying it's actually the opposite, because laws, as with RH's tweets and all this sort of stuff that we've seen, and anyone who's ever had an experience with law, it's very subjective, and the way that you interpret
interpretations,
the law, it can be hugely ambiguous, right? Whereas with code and crypto, it's math based. It is literally code is law. The laws of physics and maths and code can be immutable, and it's just like that level of, that's actually something that the lawmakers should aspire to, is to have laws that are so well proven and sort of well defined that it's not just like people arguing with Gary Gensler about whether a Pikachu trading card is a security, and he's like, no. And they're like, oh, but what if you tokenize the Pikachu card? Is it now a security? And he's like, it's like, dude, you don't even know.
Yeah. I saw that clip on YouTube. Yeah, I saw
the Pikachu thing.
I saw that.
That was so funny, because we were talking about that the other day with the I think it was the Stoner Cats or something, and there was someone from the SEC had dissented, one of the commissioners, and they had said, well, hang on, you get collectibles in everyday life. So people who are just collecting stuff, that has a perceived value in the future. So they're like an expectation of a value that maybe it becomes more rare in the future or whatever. But collectibles aren't securities. So what, because we digitize them, all of a sudden that makes them a security? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. And that he illustrated that really well with that Pikachu card thing. He was just like, is this a security? No. Well, then what if I tokenize it? It's like, bro, come on. I just have to quickly answer Finbear. What's up, Finbear in the house? I did check out that Systema Club thing, because he was talking about that. And they do, I think it was like Russian or something. It was pretty intense. It looked like Krav Maga, actually. Very similar to Krav Maga, where it's just like the most violent, brutal, efficient response you can do, as quickly as possible in terms of self-defense. So yeah, it looked cool, but it was like south of the river, like it was like nowhere near me. So but yeah, we've got
Runeski's just written just 7 people watching, WTF. I agree with you, Runeski. And the only way, there's only so much that Dozer and I can do as far as reach goes. So the only way to get more people watching is for you guys to send it out.
Like
it's the only
subscribe way. And retweet all that stuff.
And post it on Twitter and get it out there.
It is really quite dead at the moment. Like I notice in the telegrams, like when I go to the gym, I'll just go through all the telegram channels and stuff, and then I'll like finish in the 5 minutes. I'll have gone through all my telegram groups, and I'll be like, there's nothing going on. And then I'll be like, all right, I'll check the Tang Gang, and then there's just like 7,000 memes, and I'm like, all right, cool. At least these guys are doing something. But literally, there's no one else doing anything. Did you see Tangent's got his yacht party token? Did you see that?
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. Someone posted it in our chat.
That's so funny.
I saw that. Yacht. So someone made a Tangent golden yacht.
The golden yacht. Yeah, it's just like a meme coin sort of thing. So I don't know. I think people are just literally bored. Just like if you say something, like I think I was joking around about OJ Simpson, and why didn't the Tang Gang have him as like a spokesperson? Literally that afternoon, someone made an OJ Simpson coin, and I swear it was because I said it. Like it was like within hours of me saying it. Just like someone's just watching it and be like, that's a good idea. So you got to be careful what you say now, because you'll just get full memed and then like someone make a coin based on it. Mango Junkie, oi oi. Finbear has been on carnivore for a week now. Feels pretty awesome. Yeah, Klaus and I have been doing a bit of that. I mean, I'm a sort of carnivore anyway, so I'm a big fan. But to do it strictly and just do meat only is kind of hard, because you got to have like steak for breakfast and stuff. So not that that's like a bad thing. Mango Junkie said not someone, so maybe it was Mango. That's so funny. Yeah, I like the Tangent memes as well. It's easy to do because there's He's so like he's got so many like clippable things and like memeable things. So I went in the tangent Telegram for this golden yacht thing, and I was like, I did this because there was one where he dressed up like Andrew Tate, and I was like,
Yep.
It's Andrew Taint. It was like, and he's because he's got his like chicks around him and stuff. Andrew Tate.
Yep.
So I thought that was funny. What else? Oh yeah. So did you were saying? Oh, so maybe I'll just quickly go through the price real quick. And if this Instagram thing comes up and tells me some clues, I'm gonna crowdsource this shit and get people to like help me find this Bitcoin, and then it'll be drinks for all. I was just going to say that this right shoulder is just doing its thing. BTC.
Let me look at the screen.
Up to 27K,
yeah.
but not, you know how we talked about like if it was going to go above the weekly like close above 28K and start taking off, or whether it was just going to respect this right shoulder, seems to be just playing out. So, and I also noticed, so that I'm just saying that the 20K is still in play for, see if Richard can do 11K and pray, I'm going to coin 20K is still in play because it rhymes. Okay.
Do it.
So
coin it. Coin it right
still
now.
In play. That's it. Doza
20K. Doza says 20K. You need to tweet it. You need to tweet it, mate. 20K still in play. It's still in play.
Still in play. No, I don't know if it was good enough. So this triangle that I was saying that PLS sort of broke down from, that support is now acting as resistance, because it was the resistance from here, and then it's hit it. It didn't close above it, down below it. So yeah, it's pretty much just sideways, isn't it? At the moment.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to mention, liquid loans apparently are launching at the end of October. So,
that's what I heard.
Yeah, 2 more weeks. So that's just the classic 2 more weeks. But I noticed that there's this thing called the LP rewards. So I guess the idea is that if you provide liquidity for the PLS USDL pair, then you can take the LP tokens, deposit them into a smart contract on the LL DApp, and then you receive loan token emissions proportional to your share of the pool, but only for 42 days. So, that's weird. But like, I don't know why 42. I mean, maybe because 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. If you're a Hitchhiker's Guide fan.
Hang on. Let me look at this.
42
Starting
days.
At the moment of launch, the Liquid Loans LP rewards program will run for 42 days. That's 6 weeks.
Okay. Or just no, a little bit more, right? Because
7 times 6.
6. Yeah, you're right. Jeez, something with a maths degree, my arithmetic is pretty shocking.
It's all good, man. You've forgotten what other people haven't learned yet.
No, it's just because you don't use arithmetic in pure mathematics. It's just one of those things. You're using like triple integrals and shit like that, like calculus. So yeah, this LP token that you take from, providing liquidity, you put it into their DApp and you get loan tokens. So I guess it's just to encourage people to thicken up the liquidity in that pair. But it could be interesting. But just the fact that it's only for 42 days makes me think there could be a bit of an
It's like a sacrifice. Is it like a sacrifice?
No, not really, because you're providing liquidity, right? So you're earning fees.
But then it says after 42 days, this opportunity will never arise again. So it's not a sacrifice, but it's like your only opportunity to. It's a reward.
It's a reward. So if you're, because I guess the thing is that there could be volatility in that pair. So if PLS goes down, you're going to get more USDL. If PLS goes up, you're going to be selling your PLS. But yeah, it's just one of those things like with the Wattses. It's like you could only mint them for 2 weeks or whatever. We know with Hedron and had the Wattses. Yeah,
Yep,
and it was like, well, you may as well take advantage of it because you won't get the opportunity again. So I don't know. There's something about that. It's just FOMO, really. It's literally.
But it's very important for, like, having thick liquidity. There is very important for liquid loans operating correctly.
Yeah, for sure. Also, like, I had a look at this Glassnode site, and it's got like a free 14-day trial, and I was just like, oh yeah, whatever. But it had some pretty cool like things in terms of like hash price. So I guess the reason why I was looking at this is because with most bear markets, the thing that creates the bottom is generally the BTC miner like capitulation. And so like that's where it's sort of like it's no longer profitable for them because the price has gone down that much. And there's things called the Pule multiple. So I mean, yeah, I didn't have enough time to really go through this, but it was like if it's greater than 4 indicates mining it's currently earning 400% yearly average. If it's less than 0.6 indicates miners are earning 60% of the yearly average. So there's a couple of like really cool stats. And then this hash price, which was miner revenue per exahash, is metric for estimating daily miner incomes relative to the estimated network hash. Okay, so I think basically what's happening is as the hash price is just plummeted, and as BTC keeps going down, sort of thing, and then so I was wondering if the halving is going to reduce the miner rewards, like the block rewards for BTC miners. Like what's going to, like in the future, what's going to incentivize people to maintain the consensus of the network, if you know what I mean? Like unless BTC price keeps going up. Oh, you're muted. Oh, it's just fully gone.
No? Yep, sorry. Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool.
Yep. I was muted. Yeah, so I think just in relation to what you just said, yeah, I mean, you'd expect the price of BTC to keep going up. I mean,
yeah,
in a world where I mean, it's already ridiculous that it's still so low. I find it ridiculous that it's so low. Like all I hear is like this narrative of scarcity, and mathematically we can see that it's scarce, but clearly it's still not scarce enough. And because we've been hovering around this 20,000 to 20, like the,
or maybe
if you think about it, in 2018, it was $20,000, and now 5 years later, almost 6 years later, we're only like, how much? What are we now? 27?
27. Yeah, it's not.
It's like, dude, that's not great performance, and it's certainly not going to be like if it's only going up by that much every few years. There's no way that price appreciation is going to be enough to reward the miners as the block subsidies like reduce every 4 years.
Exactly, because people talk about the halving all the time as just being bullish, like, oh yeah, the halving, we're all going to the moon, and you're kind of thinking, yeah, I guess, like in terms of the cycles, I mean, even after the halving, sometimes it actually drops, but then after the halving, that's normally when it starts the bull run sort of kicks off, which is kind of I think April next year, but yeah, in principle though, the miners are getting less block rewards. They're still spending the same amount of power, like money on power, to for the proof of work.
Well,
So
that's interesting because I think there's been a shift there as well. Their miners are moving to where power costs them less. So
yeah,
there's a shift
yeah,
there as well.
sure. And that could be interesting in terms of like maybe opening up some third world countries and sort of places where maybe they can get cheaper. I'm not sure if it's cheaper labor or whatever it is. The cost of energy production is slightly cheaper, so that might actually open that up to other parts of the world, which could be a good thing. But yeah, I guess otherwise they have to drop the difficulty, right? So that's the other option, is that by dropping the algorithm, the hashing difficulty, then it means that they can get more. It can incentivize people that way, like get more rewards, or increase your chance maybe of getting a block reward. Anyway,
the only reason you would
into
reduce the difficulty is if there's less miners.
Yeah, because and that's the thing, is like it's only really when the price is high, and then that's when all the miners come in and there's lots of competition. So then the hash, so then they have to maybe make it more difficult. But if there's less miners, then they have to make it easier, right? And if there's miners capitulating, then who determines the difficulty of the hashing?
Isn't there? It doesn't have to stay around that 10-minute. Like the difficulty of is adjusted to keep like blocks 10 minutes apart, roughly.
Yeah,
isn't that how that works?
Like that. I might have to ask Tangent next time I see him, because it's just something I've never really looked into. And then I was just like wondering about it. And also,
if I remember correctly, this is old. Like I remember learning about this years ago. So, I haven't really. It's not something I spend much time, going over, to be honest with you. But if I remember correctly, the blocks aim to be about 10 minutes apart, and then it's adjusted based on that.
Yeah. Right.
So the more if there's more competition, it has to get harder.
Yes.
Like if the hash rate is faster, then they're going to find the blocks quicker. So they have to make it harder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It was just interesting, like, because I was, with that Eric Voorhees thing, and we're talking about permissionless, DeFi and smart contracts, things like that, but also like talking about, I guess, decentralization and what it means to be completely decentralized. Like Hex is just sort of immutable. It exists whether you have the hex.com front end or not. Other people can put up their own front ends, and it will just always exist. Whether Uniswap takes down from their front end, that's okay. The code is still there. You can still interact with the Uniswap contracts and things like that. So, but when you start to have things like oracles, I think even Chainlink has a reliance on some multi-sigs. Like there's I think that Chris Black guy was saying, like, because the Chainlink guys have got, there's like a 4 or 5 like multi-sig wallets that control the Chainlink oracles. There's still a non-zero risk that they can just nuke it. And is that technically then, immutable? If there's, and it's the same thing happens with bridges, right? Like you can't have permissionless bridges like that. They still have to have bridge validators.
Although, bro, have you looked into Thor swap?
I haven't. I know that we talked about it the other day.
That is the closest thing.
Yeah.
That's the closest thing. That's the only one that I know of. It's not a bridge.
Okay.
It's not. It doesn't work. It's not. There's no. So you're swapping native assets.
Yeah.
With Thor swap.
I did like.
You are not. You're not getting a wrapped version of something. You're not bridging. It's a swap of native assets.
It's a true swap.
The way it's interesting because the way it works, I think it's on Cosmos, right? I think there's a ThorChain is on
ThorChain.
ThorChain,
okay, yeah, maybe that is right.
And there's I think there's nodes And then the nodes like also run. They have to run like the chain as well. They have to like run, like if you're going to have Bitcoin,
Right.
I believe that the node somehow also runs like, this is something that I haven't looked into, but very, very deeply. But I've heard some people talking about it, and I believe that they have to make this happen. They have to also run the chain so that they can get the information from the chain, because that's the issue. It's like you will need to rely on an oracle unless you have the actual chain yourself.
Like you have a node of that. Yeah.
And I believe there's like 100 nodes or something in this.
Okay.
And but the thing is that anyone, like if we wanted to put like, if we wanted PulseChain to be something you could swap on ThorSwap, yes, which, as I understand it, is the only cross-chain DEX. Basically, it's essentially a cross-chain DEX.
So that doesn't rely on bridges.
Like, it doesn't rely on bridges. It doesn't. Yeah, on bridges. Yeah, it doesn't rely on that multi-sig deal.
The oracles. Yep. Yeah.
It's like.
Well, that's pretty cool. I had played around with that a little bit because I was like, I saw that you could do snaps on MetaMask, and then you could, I think it was Shapeshift, or there was something to do with getting native BTC on MetaMask, and I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. And I think
the reason
that's all I looked into.
But the reason, all right. So this is the thing: if you need to swap BTC into ETH at scale, like I'm talking at scale,
yeah,
what are your options? Centralized exchanges.
Yeah,
they're your only options. Yeah. Which bridge is going to allow you to swap like large amounts? Not that I've got large amounts to swap, but if you want a truly decentralized sort of cross-chain environment, you can't really be relying on a whole bunch of different entities running multi-sigs. It's I mean,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's what we've got. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and I think that's what we've got to get away from, right? Like, so the thing that we love about Hex and is like this, and almost all the Richard Hart coins and things, is that it's permissionless, that it's immutable. I mean, it was bootstrapped at the start with the validators. RH had validators, but as far as I know now, they've completely dropped out all of their validators, and it's now completely community run. So that's like true decentralization. And so, yeah, I think pushing away from admin keys, I think is something that's like a noble pursuit, right? Like that's something that we should be striving for in our in crypto.
Yeah.
So keyless bridges, like admin keyless bridges and things like that. And so if, like you say, that this is a way of doing cross-chain swaps without utilizing.
Yeah, it's just a different system. It's a different system to anything that's been out there.
And that's the cool thing about
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the answer or not. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. This is all experimental. This whole space is a big experiment, So,
yeah. But I think that's the good thing about the PulseChain community, is that they can take things from other communities and they can try and implement them on PulseChain, and they can see what worked on Ethereum. And so, like, I think Famous has just launched, which was that GMX on Arbitrum. That was like a fork of GMX. Have you heard of?
I don't know, dude. Actually, I haven't. Yeah, I've heard of it.
And they had Fiat was a fork of Aave, and we're taking these things and we're kind of, people are just implementing them on PulseChain, and it's like, it's a pretty vibrant community. You got to admit, people are building on it, like a lot of builders making a lot of cool shit. And it seems to be like daily.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot happening. I mean, they say that this is the time to build, and there's never been a longer, more extended building time in crypto than this bear market.
Yeah, and that's why we, look into this sort of stuff. Is now is because it can be a bit boring in a bear market. So it's like, why not just go and learn about some of this stuff? But yeah, I noticed that I think Dipcatcher was talking about USDT has a blacklist capability and things like that, and it's just disgusting, isn't it? Like something that you think of as being like, I know USDC had that, and because they were censoring. They were like blacklisting wallets because of the whole Tornado Cash thing. But the fact that USDT has it as well, that they could disable transfers and things like that.
What do you think? Do you think like the liquid loans, what is it? USD is going to be USDL. Is that what it's called? Do you think?
Yep.
Do you think that's going to like take over on PulseChain? Do you think that that's going to be like the stable coin of choice, or do you think that people still prefer the bridged in DAI?
I think bridged in DAI is always going to be the number one because it doesn't have that risk. Well, I know that part of DAI is
well, it does have risk. It's got
by the USDC. Because part of DAI is backed by USDC, right? But I don't think.
But it's not only that. It's also there's bridge risk, right? Which I would say, is probably
true.
There's different like levels of risk as opposed to like there's different risks for each option. With USDL, it's going to be something that's new on PulseChain. So do you just jump in? Or do you wait and see how that plays out? There's different risk there. There's definitely risk with DAI, but DAI's been pretty good. I mean, so and I actually do trust the bridge, the PulseChain ETH bridge. I do trust it.
The main PulseChain bridge is awesome. I use it all the time, and it's always been. I've never had any problems with it. So, I've used some dodgy bridges in the past to other chains, but not. I mean, that's the thing people don't realize if you've never mucked around on some other chains. But some of those bridges can take forever.
I have to say, my preference is if I'm going to use a bridge to be off the wrapped stuff ASAP, like.
Go back to the native.
Go back to something that is native on that chain ASAP. I just don't like having.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like there is a.
I don't like using the hologram
risk there. Yeah. The wrapped. Yeah. I know what you mean. It's just something about it. Yeah. So what was your question? That do you think that people will go to USDL over what about like CST or whatever? Or do you think that RH is going to create his own?
Oh yeah, there's CST as well. There's CST, but CST. Can they send? Is CST something that can be censored?
Can they? I don't know enough about it. I haven't played with that, but I know at least with USDL, it's always like backed in the code by $1 worth of PLS. So as long as PLS is, still has value, then you should always have $1 worth. So I'm sort of, I think USDL could be the stable of choice. But of course, do you think Richard will actually make a stablecoin? He talked
not if the market. Yeah, but not if there's a lot of I think there's a lot that goes into that. There's so much that goes into that.
Yeah.
So if the market can sort it out by itself and it's workable,
Maybe he
and there's
doesn't
a
need
couple of
to.
different options, you do
Yeah.
want. I feel like there's not one answer. You always want more than you always want multiple options when it comes to like stables. Things that are native to the chain, in my opinion, are preferable. But if you're like, as I said, to use a bridge to get in, you're going to assume a small amount of risk at the time of the bridge, like as that's taking place. But if you're swapping out of that immediately after, then
it's like negligible.
it's exactly, if it's just a short amount of time, it's just like whenever you swap anything on a centralized exchange.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, that's what I liked about one of the things I liked about ThorSwap.
Okay.
Their tagline, like, by the way, ThorSwap, the name, not really, doesn't impress me much, but their tagline is fucking awesome. It's
What
like
is it?
ThorSwap better than sex, but sex is spelled CEX. So
Okay.
ThorSwap better than sex.
Better than sex. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Centralized
That's good.
exchanges. Gotcha. That's good.
Top notch.
That's good. I like it. Yep. Hat tip. There's definitely a dad involved in that somewhere.
Yeah.
That's a dad joke for sure.
Yeah.
They're just sitting around going, what should it be? I know. The resident dad of the group. Well, Eric Voorhees did say he thinks he's the oldest man in crypto. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I'd have to play around with that ThorSwap and ThorChain. But do they use? See, I looked into it and it was like they use Rune or something as their. But then you don't really need Rune to actually as gas.
They have to.
Confusing.
So the reason, my understanding is why it's the way it works is you're not at risk as when you're swapping if you're running a node, you need to collateralize whatever amount of anything you have with Rune. So you have to like stake the Rune, and then if you're like, if there's not enough, I don't know, the Rune is at stake. So the way I understood it was that whenever a swap happens, if something happens, the person who's making the swap using ThorSwap will always get paid somehow out of it. Like the staking node is going to get slashed before the person swapping loses out on the swap, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know the mechanics of how. I don't know the exact mechanics of how that works, but that was my understanding when I was listening to.
Do you know what is interesting though? Like as well is that sometimes you get the most amazing tech, right? This could be an example of it. I'm not sure, and you think, wow, this is amazing tech. This should be people should be using this, daily. And it's like, it doesn't really matter how. It's like how saleable is it? Like how when people start to adopt a new technology, they can get into it for weird reasons. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not necessarily the reason is that it's because it's the most technical proficient protocol, or it's clearly has the best, transactions per second or whatever it is. It's not always the best tech that gets the most, adoption. And I guess at the end of the day, like, some people are in here for the tech, but the majority of people are literally here for number go up. So it's like,
but it's also the fact that I think the fact that with that ThorSwap, I'm banging on about ThorSwap, but I think the reason that it is that there's something that's good about it is, or the main thing that's good about it is that it works at scale. Like you can swap large amounts. So big players can go and swap, BTC for ETH without there being that centralized party. It's like basically that a trust, like there might be a little bit of, I don't know enough about it apart from I'm at the beginning of really learning about it, and I just know
Yeah.
fundamental parts of it, but I
Cool,
don't
man. I'll have
really.
to look into it, eh? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny,
yeah,
like, yeah, in a bear market, you sort of start to look into things, and it's like, if this bear market keeps going any longer, I'm gonna start looking into chia. It's like I've just held off for that long. I'm just like, I can't be bothered, and it's like, well, maybe I will check it out. I just
yeah,
that bored. You have to be pretty bored,
yeah.
I think, to be doing that. So sorry, chia bros. But that's an
It's pretty
indicator of
funny.
like how long the bear market is going. It's just like how far you're willing to go into these esoteric technologies and communities. But yeah, they do have, they're pretty strong in the old Tangang, the old chia bros. They do go pretty hard. But yeah, anyway, no, I think there's other stuff I might check
Yeah,
out
man.
just before that.
They're but the Chia Bros are like in the PulseChain. They're in the PulseChain
Yeah,
ecosystem.
that's
So
it. They're like
those guys are in
lurkers.
the ecosystem.
They're just lurking, just like they haven't drunk the Kool-Aid yet, but they're there. They fully are there, just like they got some pulse.
Or maybe they did. Maybe they drank the Kool-Aid at the top, and now they're
they're rebelling,
feeling a little bit a little bit
cool, man.
of resentment.
I understand that. Like that's the sad thing, isn't it? It's like when you know that something is awesome, but it's just like the price is not reflecting that, and you're just like, well, I've got no leg to stand on because I can't tell you that it's like, the most epic investment of all time, because you look at the chart and just be like, 98% down. All you can suggest is that it's a great buying opportunity, but you have to, check yourself a little bit and be like, yeah, people can talk smack about you, but you can equally talk smack about every other coin. That is the other thing, is that every other coin is also down 90%. So it's like,
apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum, apart from those two, those two are the only ones. Yeah.
But limptic gains, that's the thing, I mean, we're not in here to make 2x's, I'll just work more if it was going to be like that. Like, if that was the thing. We're here to make,
that's a
we're
good
here for
point,
some
man.
yacht money, right? We got to get that Tangent's golden yacht out, take it for a spin. Oh, Bullish knows what I'm talking about. The yachts in the house. That's so funny. Yeah, I was going to say, have you checked out that PulseCoin list site recently?
No. Tell me.
I'll just whip it out. Sounds gratuitous, but yeah, that seems like they've done some serious updates and stuff. Like, so I used to check it out for the PRC20 like comparisons. So you could just sort of go, between the two hexes, for example, on PulseChain, there's a 136% difference. And you can just like instantly kind of be like, oh yeah, stable coins, and then like fake stable coin. That might trigger a few PDI people, but yeah, you can just, look at the equivalent PRC20 and then see, how the percentages have changed. So that's what I used to do originally, but it does have just like token ranking, just like like in terms of market cap, like is our equivalent of like a coin market cap or something like that, or the other market cap one, which I won't name. But yeah, it's got some cool stuff.
Coin list, bro. I have never used that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Coin list.
PulseCoinlist.com. Check it out.
Love it.
You can do multi charts, multi-ball. So that's cool. I mean, Dex Screener does that, so that's kind of cool. It's got stats. So I thought there was something here that had like, oh, you could exclude the OA. Yeah, so you could just be like, oh, what's the supply and what's the market cap of, say, PLS? So 135 trillion supply, 5.89 billion in market cap. Exclude OA, 15 trillion supply, 652 million market cap. Like, that's kind of cool, that click of a button.
Yeah,
just to be like,
absolutely.
so because you can get
I've got to go
confused,
check out this site, dude. Check it out. Looks
Yeah,
cool.
because it's just like sometimes people ask you, they're, oh, what's the supply? And they're, what's the market cap? And you go, well, hang on, how much was sacrificed again? Wasn't it like 6 billion or something? Yeah, but that was the OA. And it's just like, oh, okay, bam. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And more stats are coming. So it looks like they're just building on it. They've got
Oh,
so
can I ask you just something a bit more like,
this is a
um,
yeah, man.
I just want to ask you like this sort of in relation to like, what do you think, is there going to be a catalyst to like turning this market around for the alts?
Good question.
What do you think? Not,
For,
I
for
mean,
the
I
alts, like
believe there's, I should rephrase that. Like, do I believe, I believe there's going to be a catalyst that starts to turn things around. What do you think that catalyst is going to be? And do you believe that, first of all? I should ask, do you believe there's going to, I assume you do. That's why we're all in this space, because
yeah.
we think there's going to be something that turns it around, right?
Yes. So I am, a subscriber to the 4-year cycle theory, and I do think that it's going to come again. So it's just a matter of time. But you're saying, what is the catalyst going to be? And you're talking about alts on, say, Ethereum or like the entire crypto market, or are you talking about the RH ecosphere, or?
I'm talking about like just in general, what's going to turn this market around so that we start getting more green candles than red ones.
So
What's going to?
at its fundamental level, I think Bitcoin drives the show, right? So this is the Hart's law thing, where because of just in sheer market cap, like and volume and liquidity, that when BTC moves, everything else moves. So I think that's what's driving it. But it's kind of like leveraged. So with the alts, you see more exacerbated losses and you see amplified gains. So I think the fact that we've seen a lot of alts have really exacerbated losses down to like 99% or whatever, some portion of them, some subset of them are going to present the best potential return on investment because they've gone down so much more than for them to, even get back up, to all-time high or whatever, without even keep going. You could present like a huge opportunity, like in terms of ROI. But most alts don't make it, is the sad story. So everyone thinks that their alt is
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
bounce back and go reclaim all-time high, and it's going to keep going to the moon. Not true. Very few coins are multi-cycle, and very few coins can reach their previous all-time highs. It's like a handful that can do it. So some of these coins are going to be multi-cycle and they're going to be able to go all-time high again, but I suspect like 90% of them will die. And that's going to come down to probably the community behind it, which I think is why everyone's sort of bullish on Hex and PulseChain and RH products, is because like, why would it go to all-time high again? Because we've got like the fervor of our community is such that they will just carry it on their backs all the way, and it's just the exposure of it. You see it on Twitter. It's just hexes everywhere, and PulseChain is everywhere. So if anyone can do it, I think our community can do it, and that's what Somi talks about with the Metcalfe's law, and if you can bring in new users and things like that, I think that.
So you think, if I can summarize what you were saying about, so you think it's going to be Bitcoin pumping, and that's going to lead to the alts, the good alts, we should say, which we believe Hex and Pulse and PulseX and all those everything is, all of those will pump because Bitcoin pumps. Do you think
Or at least that the
what like
conditions. So that's true. What I
what
was
about
saying.
what about what about this mechanism of like the idea that people like are in BTC in the
Hmm.
bear because
Hmm.
it drops less, and then
Yes.
as that pumps, they get out after it. As it's pumping, they get out and get into alts,
Cycle
and
into
that is
others.
what
Yep. Yep.
and that's what makes the alts pump because they've got lower liquidity than BTC. So you know
Yes.
that
Yes. Yes.
that's what's
Yes.
making those pump harder. But then
Yeah.
they dump harder after when people are going back out or
Yeah.
either taking their money out completely or going back into BTC.
Yeah, I
Um,
100% agree. So because of that liquidity disparity that you're talking about, I think that that does amplify. That's what amplifies the alts. So, but the thing is you need to have the conditions right for these alts to run, right? So, and the way I think of that is just in terms of those moving averages. You know how you have like the 10-week moving average above the 20-week and then above the 50-week, like stacked moving averages, and then you know that you're in an uptrend. When you get those conditions right for BTC and whatever your coin of choice is, then it's like if there's thin liquidity, you'll see more ROI on the altcoins, like the ones with lower liquidity, because you're in an uptrend, but you're in an uptrend in a coin with lower liquidity. So your ROI is higher. So I think, and
what
like
about
the fact that there's cycle out of them, like you're saying, is part of what
what
drives
about
it.
the idea? And this is just me, throwing, just throwing this idea up. What
Yeah,
about the idea that potentially, and this wouldn't be a good thing for alts if the money that's actually gone into BTC, being the more institutional kind of money,
right.
isn't the type of money that will then go and flip into alts. And maybe it's what
Yeah,
about not
yeah.
necessarily like
So,
that's just an idea, not necessarily what's
well,
going to happen.
that's
I have no
that is
idea what's going to
interesting.
happen.
I mean, so MicroStrategy recently acquired what was it, 5,445 Bitcoin. So this is Michael Saylor. So this was recent. Like they just got another 5,000 BTC. And it's like, do you think that they're going to rotate into alts? Probably not. Like, you know what I mean? So is that what you were
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, that's
Like,
yeah, because it's not only them. It's like the
yeah, ETFs.
institute
Yeah.
like BlackRock,
BlackRock ETFs. Yep.
Vanguard. Are
Grayscale.
they are
Yep.
they not
ARK
still
Invest.
buying?
Yeah. So ARK Invest is doing an Ethereum futures ETF as well. So they're the ARK Invest guys. I think that
Yep.
they might be getting approval soon, actually. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like
Mm.
because those big ETFs, the BlackRocks, the Grayscales, they're not going to be rotating into alts. Um, but I think see
Maybe
they
there's a
don't need.
maybe that just means that there's a big die-off of alts, but only like a few will survive that. And
Mm,
I think the few that can survive that are the ones that have the biggest name and are the most
and
active
community.
and
Yeah,
community. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that goes to activity, like on
yeah,
social media and
yeah,
on YouTube and other platforms. It's
yeah.
so whatever is left, and to go into alts,
Hmm.
you would
Hmm.
think that they would go to those alts that are the most active. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think that it would be like a war of attrition where a lot of these coins are going to die and not come back. And there's also this thing where I remember from previous cycles, 2017, things like that, people were talking about IOTA and things, and it was like, oh, the transactions per second and yada yada yada, and it's like it's still limping along, but it never really did anything. And it's like I think sometimes these narratives just die, like they can't be
Yeah.
resuscitated. Like they're literally just trying to like
They're trying.
perform
I think they're
CPR on
trying.
it, and they're like, nah, that's gone. So the new people like new shiny objects. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
what's this new thing? Like, oh, it's a new chain. Oh, PulseChain. Oh, how old is it? Oh, it's new. It's only 3 months old or 4 months old, whatever. And then it's like, so even L2s, Arbitrum, things like that, people might be like, oh, it's what? It's so like they like the idea that it hasn't. So I mean, it's a bit of a, what's the word, where you have like a juxtaposition or like a contrast between, you want the store of value like BTC to have been around forever. Like that's that Lindy effect thing where you want that to be around forever because that's the thing you trust. But then the degen in everyone is like, I want the next new thing, which is going to be the new Bitcoin or whatever. And then that's why they'll go for the slightly newer thing. So I'm not sure that we've seen. I hope it's PulseChain, to be honest. I think, it's got all of the ingredients there.
Because I think that people still underestimate this idea of everyone having had a copy of their ERC20s in pair. Like when the bull market comes and Ethereum is no longer usable, and people who have never bothered to look realize they still have their bag from like May to like they still have their bag before they sold the bottom in Ethereum, but they have it on PulseChain. Maybe something happened. Like maybe that's just something that just happens organically. Like I know we feel like it's already happened, but maybe when Ethereum is just unusable, completely unusable, maybe that's going to spark some more interest in PulseChain because it's people can just go there without, like, obviously they're going to have to get some Pulse, right? They're going to have to get some Pulse over there. But apart from that, you can just go and, do stuff. You'll just be able to go and do stuff. But
so, I mean,
look, dude,
there was. I'll just say one more thing. Are you going to disappear? Do you?
Yeah. If we, I gotta.
That's cool. That's cool. I was just gonna say one thing about that just made me think of. So Microsoft had some leaks during the week where they were talking about the new Xbox, and they were talking about incorporating a wallet into the new Xbox. And so it could be something like that. Yeah, crypto wallet. Yeah. So like MetaMask, or they're going to do like a Microsoft wallet or whatever. But it could be something like that just, it just makes all these gamers out there just start frothing for whatever coin. But you're right. It's the cheap gas chains that's going to benefit from that, because if everyone starts using their Xbox for like crypto wallet to buy in-game purchases or whatever, and then, whatever, sending crypto back and forth, if it's on Ethereum and it just gets like the gas goes through the roof, then it's not going to work. But if it's on PulseChain, you can, particularly young people, can send sort of small amounts of money very quickly. So it could be something like that comes out of nowhere as the catalyst. But yeah, you got to wait for the conditions to be right. And unfortunately, I mean, we're in a little bit of a bubble at the moment because we're all waiting on tender hooks for this SEC trial. So I think, 28th of November. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. But I think I'm sort of looking more towards 2024 at this point to sort of wait for things to really start kicking off.
Yeah. I think I just cut out for a little bit there, but
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I think I just caught the end of it, and you're talking about like before. I agree with you. 2024, 2025, like but we'll see what happens with this, with the halvening. I mean, the things I don't.
Oh, he's dropped out. That's cool. Oh, he's back. No dramas, man. Look, I think we're gonna wrap it up soon anyway. So
yes.
I'll
Can
just
you hear
say
me?
thanks. Oh yeah, you're back. Yeah. Hey mate.
Yes. Yep. I'm back.
So
I'm not sure what you caught and what you didn't catch.
It just dropped out. There's no dramas. But basically, I think we're on the same page. I think I'm sort of waiting, around for November 28th with this SEC hearing. And also I'm thinking, I think the 20K is still in play. I still think that BTC could
tweet
go
it,
down.
bro. Tweet it.
Nah, I can't be bothered. I'm not an influencer, man. I just like like chatting with the guys and talking about this
Yep,
stuff. So
yep.
I'm not really one of those guys.
Fair
that's
enough,
like,
mate. Fair enough.
But I do encourage people to subscribe to this channel, DeFi Down Under. Like it if you can, and if you did like it, or even thumbs down if you didn't, whatever. Finbear says we need some airport money. Damn straight. I think we can all look forward to that. But yeah, and I've got the Sydney meetup thing coming up.
Yeah, dude, it's been fun chatting. This afternoon.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. Bro.
So there's the meetup's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, or 3
almost
weeks.
2 weeks in Sydney.
Yeah, something.
3 weeks, 3 weeks. And yeah, in Sydney, Australia,
see everyone there.
We're going to meet up. Hex Rockstar is going to be there. Who was on the Hex Late Show earlier in the week. And yeah, dude, it's been fun chatting.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting that Hex Rockstar. I'm going to chat his ear off about guitars because I've got lots of guitars. I like guitars.
Yep.
So it's like one of those.
Hence things. The par excellence at Ingve.
Ingve Wild. That's it. If you're into neoclassical shred, then you know what's up when you see Ingve. But anyway, I'll let you go, man. Enjoy your long weekend and the footy.
Thanks, mate.
And to everyone out there, enjoy the AFL Grand Final. And yeah, we'll catch you next week.
Cheers.
Legend. Cheers, mate. Catch up.